Danny. Hi everyone, I'm Laura Collet, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm going to show you a beautiful Christmas card I came up with. And I'm combining two sets, which I often do, and that's the beauty about it. You can pull from other sets to make different cards. The card today is made, here it is. And let's see, I've got you a little off kilter. There we go. And hopefully I won't bump my camera like I did last week. Okay, this is made out of this darling little, let me grab it for you. It is called Perched in a Tree. And I've made some really cute Christmas cards using this fat little bird. And the dies in it are just really awesome. The aspen leaves, you can see their veins, and they really punch out beautifully. And then I'm going to show you the one that I used to cut this out in just a second. While I'm thinking about it, okay, oh, and I wanted to tell you that this is on Perched in a Tree is on page 43 in the annual catalog. Now, the little owl came from one of our new sets that's in our mini catalog, and it's on page 26. It's called Winter Owl. And that's where I got this little guy. Let me hold this up so you can see better. And they have three owls, one is flying, and when you punch that one out, it makes these beautiful wings. Isn't that pretty? So, this one can be found in the new mini catalog. You can go online and find it, or you can get in touch with me and I will mail you a catalog. While I'm at it, and remembering, stampinatthebirdnest.com is my website. You can reach me at laura@stampinatthebirdnest.com if you want to email me. And I always have a different code for the month. And here's this code for September. Okay, now let me tell you more about this. I am using one of our returning colors, Misty Moonlight. That's one of my very favorites. I'm using Smoky Slate. I used Gray Granite here, but I kind of like the Smoky Slate. It's just a little bit lighter. You could use either one. So that's the one that I'm using to cut out the frame. The DSP, or designer paper, comes from this gorgeous set. It's called Winter Meadow, and it goes with the Winter Owl stamp set and dies. The colors in it are just wonderful. They include, besides your Moody Mauve, which I used for the bow right here. It has Smoky Slate, Blueberry Bushel, Misty Moonlight, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. And I have to say all of those are my favorite colors. So this is what I came up with today. And I wanted to show you, I went ahead and cut this out because it needs the large cut and emboss machine for this. The mini only does 3.5 inches, so it's just a little bit too large, but I wanted you to see too that it's real important that you tape down your dies because you don't have much wiggle room here. So let me take this off. And I'm going to show you one of our other tools that I really love. And it is, here we go. It's the big, the Cut and Emboss die brush. And this is what the old one looked like. Now they have one that's just this big, no handle, because it screws in to your take your tool pick. And it's somewhere on my desk. Okay, so it just screws right in. What you're going to get is the brush and two of these little foam pads. And it fits perfectly in one of our little thin cases, stamp cases. And all you do is set your piece right there and just run over it with the die brush. And it'll help get most of those little leftovers out. See, it cleaned up the die itself really well. And then these will just punch right out. And I like this because you can keep all your little scraps in here, and there are a couple little places that haven't been punched out, but you can keep them all together and then take them to your trash bin and throw those away. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you, I'm going to use this pattern of the Winter Meadow paper. And I wanted to, did you notice that I put a moon here? And I just think that just adds so much. You know, we forget that we can do other things with this paper besides just gluing it down. You can emboss. Our DSP is what we call it, our designer paper. You can run it through the embossing machine. You can sponge on it or stamp on it wherever you want. And so there's more that you can do. You can tear it to give a rough edge, and of course you can use other dies to cut it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this, and I've cut, this is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Both of these are cut at 4 by 5 1/4, so that you just have that little bitty frame around there, and it looks like a layer. So this is eventually going to go right here. But what I want to see is, where do I want to put my moon? Now, if I had used one of the other owls, like if I had used this owl, he's facing to the right, and the moon should go over here. But since I used that little guy, I wanted him over here, and then the moon up above on the other side. So now let me show you what I have done. Posted, I guess these are posted. They make these awesome little sheets that have sticky all over them. And that's what I used to cut out the moon. Now, there is a moon here, but I wanted it to be one that's just rising so that it's fuller, or maybe even a harvest moon. So I used, now these are retired, but you can use any circles you have. And I pulled out the third one from the middle. I tried the second one and I thought it was too small. So I pulled out this one and cut it out on the mini cut and emboss machine. So here is your mask. And I'm going to put that out of the way right now. Okay, so you want to be able to see it well. So, Okay, I see about where I think it should go. So just stick that down, and then you can decide if you want it there or you want to show more or less. I kind of like that. It's maybe slightly more than the other. And now I'm going to sponge some color on it. And the two colors I'm using are Daffodil Delight and Cajun Craze. And I did some little sponging to see how it would look, and it really came out pretty. And of course now I can't find it, but anyway, that's okay. I'm going to show you one here. Now, I am using 2 of our large blending brushes. These come 3 to a set for $13. They also have some smaller ones. I haven't gotten them yet, and I don't think they're this small, but they come 3 to a set, and that's $12. So let's take, I'm going to start with the Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to ink up my brush, and I'm wiping off a little bit, and then I'm going to just put a little bit down there. So I didn't do a whole lot. And I'm going to leave that open just for a second to make sure I don't need to put some more. Now I'm using Cajun Craze and a different blending brush. And I'm just going to do a little. Now, you can see that it isn't all over. And I wish I could find that little sheet that I had that showed what it looked like, because we're often so busy concentrating on, is it even, is it the same all over? This doesn't matter. Let's see. Look how pretty it turned out. Now I'm satisfied with that, so I'm going to close up my inks. Always a good idea, so you don't get anything in them. And I'm going to use my seal, Stampin' Seal, to put it on the front of my card. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to put it right about there so that there's about an 1/8 of an inch around. And now I'm going to put this on. But if you noticed on this one, I have a little bit of the gray in there. I didn't want to use brown. I didn't want brown trees. I wanted the gray to go with the blue. So that's what I chose. And I used the smaller brush. And I'm picking up the wrong one. Let's see. Okay, where did you go? Well, maybe I won't sponge it. I thought I had all my inks right there. Now my smoky slate has disappeared. Here it is. I didn't get it out. Okay, and you might want to go just a little bit darker. We're going to try this and see how it works. So I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to kind of hold it up and just kind of get on the edges. And if that's not working for you, get you a scratch piece of paper. And you can just put it wherever you want it, just to kind of give a little maybe shadow or difference so that everything's not exactly the same color. Now, I think I like that better than the darker. I used the darker paper and the darker ink. And this one, I really got too much ink on. So you just want to lightly sponge it. And like I said, if it's not enough, let me get my scratch paper again. If it's not enough, just ink it up again and give it a little more. You know, it's like the microwave. Start with a little bit of time, and then you can always add more. But if you start off with too much, well, it's going to overcook, most likely. And just like this, I went back and added just a little bit to give it a little more depth. Now, I'm using the glue dot, not glue dots. Oops. Let me find mine. Okay, this is one that I have cut up the areas of. These are our Stampin' Dimensionals. And I've just cut them. Nobody's going to see this. And now I'm going to put this right over our DSP. And I need to close this up. If you are having trouble with your ink pads, some of them are so stiff when they're brand new that it's really hard. This is where you're pulling it. But if you're having trouble, turn it around and take your finger and press right there, and it'll get it started so that you have a better grip on it and can flip it over. Okay, now we're going to put our tree right on top of our designer paper, so it looks like that. Okay, isn't that pretty? Then I went ahead and cut out the little owl. I stamped him in our Memento ink, and I just want him to be tucked in right about there, because we're still going to put our sentiment at the bottom. So I'm going to tuck him right there, and again I'm just going to use a little dimensional there, and I'm actually going to put, well, a glue dot right on his tail. And then he'll stick on, he'll stick to the tree. So that's about where I want him. And then I didn't take the back off of it. The dimensional on the back gives him a little bit of 3D right there. Okay? Now, I've got a cool trick to show you about the sentiment. Right now, Stampin' Up! Doesn't have any what we call word windows or punches that are kind of shaped like that. So what I did was improvise. I took this punch, which is called the Handmade Tag Punch. It's in the annual catalog for $19. And what I did, I'm going to use this, but I am going, oh, here's my, it was over there. There was my moon. See how the colors kind of makes it, because when you look at the moon, it's not all the same. It's just not a blob of white. So that showed up real well. That's the reason I decided to go with the two colors like I did. Now, I have a scrap of our smoky slate, and what I'm going to do is take the sentiment, and I'm going to use basic gray because it's darker and it's somewhere else. So I'm going to use this gray, and I think you'll agree with me that it is a little bit too light. So that's what I used here. I used the one for that. And you can put it, even though this punch is big, you can put it right. You don't have to punch this whole thing out, because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Okay, I guess maybe I could turn it around like this. I am centering the same right between these two little curved places. And I want it to be straight. So I'm going to take that. And I left my blue over here because we're just going to punch a plain one of those. Okay, so I'm just going to punch one of these out because I wanted it to look like it was nested, which means that one fits inside the other. Now, I did this with the paper cutter, just eyeballed it, and I really didn't like the way it turned out. So let me show you what to do with. I'm going to use our paper trimmer and a pencil and a ruler. Now what I want to do is, let me show you what I am cutting. Okay, just above that little notch is where I'm going to cut both sides of the sentiment there. And because I didn't do such a good job eyeballing it, I am going to draw a line so I'll know where to cut. And it helps if you've got a pencil that works. Okay, here we go. Right there. And right here. That way, if you can see some of the pencil mark, you can just erase that. Okay. So what I'm doing is putting this, and I'm going to do it down here. Let me see. I'll do it right here so you can see it. I want to make sure that the pencil mark is right here in the channel, and that's what I'm going to do to cut off. Now, if you're having trouble with it wiggling, use a little piece of tape, just like you do with the dies. Okay. Now, that cut off nicely. See, I could have gone just a little closer. We'll just take care of that with snips. And now I'm going to do this one right there. And again, I could have gotten just a tad closer, so I'm going to do it again. Depends on how picky you are. Okay, that's not going to cooperate. But anyway, you get the point there, and you can always just go and trim that if you want to get that little piece. Okay, now we've got a perfect oval. So what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to go ahead and something else I didn't show you. Okay, I don't want it to be quite this long, so after I've trimmed it, I stuck it in right here and just trimmed it on both sides. Okay, there you go. So I got close to the S. Okay, and then I did it on the other side, and again got close to the letter. and just got it right in there with that little half circle shape. And there you have it. Now, I'm going to glue this down, and then we'll trim this up and show you how it's going to look. Again, I'm going to take my snips just to get those little square ends off. So let me put my snail, I still call this snail, our seal right there. Just so, like I said, it looks like it's nested and you had a second die. And then I'm going to take my paper trimmer again. And I'm going to cut this time. I want to cut right above those little notches. Those are a little bit easier to get on there. Let's see. It is easier if you put a little tape there to help you. Okay. And like I said, if it doesn't come out exactly, just take your little paper trimmers, your little snips, and trim it. But this is a way you can use a larger punch and still have it work for what you're trying to do. So there we have it. And it looks like it's a nested little dies there, or punches. Now I'm going to set that aside. And I want, again, I'm going to use my dimensionals to pop this up. And I used Warm Wishes, and let me show you what I did on this card. I think Warm Wishes could be, Warm Wishes, hope you're feeling better. Warm Wishes, happy birthday. And that's what I did on this one. So we're going to make this a Christmas card. So I'm going to put this down here. Now, all right, all we need to do is add a little bling here. And you can't have, to me, it's hard to have a card without some bling, but especially a Christmas card. And I'm kind of putting them, oops, well, it came off on my finger. I'm putting them on the designer paper. At least I'm trying to. That one disappeared on me. I'm putting it where it looks like stars. There's the one that disappeared. It was on my finger. And I'm going to put one right here. And let's say I've got 4. You know how you have to do things in an odd number. So I'm going to put one back up there. So now you have your bling on your card. And I am going to use just a little bit of the ribbon. And, well, this is actually twine. And our Moody Mauve is one of our in colors this year. So I have everything a mess, and I can't find anything because I'm getting ready for a crop, and I'm going to do Christmas cards, and I got every set out, every embellishment paper, everything. So that's why I'm having a little trouble finding things. Now, you can either put it up in the tree, but I wanted it to be close to the sentiment. So wherever you want to do it, and you can just lift up the tree like I did and slide your twine up under it. And you may have heard me say this before, I'm left-handed, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I tend to have the legs going up on the ribbon unless I turn it upside down and tie it. So if you're having trouble with the little legs going the wrong way, it doesn't matter so much with the twine, but ribbon, mine, if I tie it the right way, they go up every single time, so I just turn it upside down. Okay, so there we have our card, the outside. On the inside, I'm going to put this, and I did pull in another stamp set because none of these had a Merry Christmas. So I'm taking, this is from Brightest Glow, and it's got all Christmas sentiments. And, oh look, I used the, let's see. Yeah, I did use the gray. I was going to use the, this on the outside, and I forgot. Well, anyway, I have made this centering mat just with some of our grid paper, and I outlined what a full card would be, whether you are doing it this way or landscape. And it just gives you a good reference guide to see where you're stamping. Okay, and I've got it inked up, and I'm using this cross thing, and I'm going to go up just a little bit. Oh, okay. Let's turn it over. Let's see if I can get it this time. And I know my head's in the way. I'm gonna see if I can get it centered. Okay, and I'm just pressing straight down. On these, oh, that's gorgeous. On these, you have to be real careful with the red rubber that you don't get ink around and get a halo. So I'm going to put that right there. And then I did want to put a little owl on the inside. So I picked the other owl to do. And he's facing the other way. And let's see if I have him in here. I may not. So we'll just use, well, my owl has flown the coop. Okay, let me put this in, and then we will get the owl when I find him. You know, as much as I try, I really do try to clean up after I've done a project and I'm through. Put it away before you get out anything else, because it helps you when you're looking for things. So, and nope, that's not the right. Oh, here he is. I knew I'd find him. Well, I didn't find the one I wanted to use, but this one will work. And I'm going to do him in the gray, just so he's not just, you know, real bold. Okay, and I'm just going to put him in this corner. Well, let's put him down here. Okay, now, I also, when I cut my designer paper, if you cut it at 4 by 4. They come in 12 inches. So if you cut them at 4 and make 3 strips that are 4 inches wide, and then you can cut and get two at 5 1/4 on each one, and then there's a little strip left. I never know what to do with it, but what I wanted to do was to put this like so. And I'm not even going to do this one. I'm just going to do this one at the top. I don't want my little bird to be covered up. But this just gives you a little extra on the inside. And it's a good way to use your scraps. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. Remember that the wishes can be, you can make a lot of these into different sayings by putting something like warm wishes, and like I said, you could make a Christmas card, you could make a birthday card, or just about anything else out of it. Well, I hope this has given you some ideas this week. If you place an order by tomorrow, you will get, it has to be a $50 order, and please use the host code VP9SMQC7. Oops, I'm not showing it to you. And put that in, and you get the choice, if it's a $50 order, of the flat back pearls. These are just gorgeous. They're iridescent. Or the brushed butterflies. These are brass. Or you could get the basic rhinestones. So, get your order in before tomorrow, and I'll be looking for you next week for another edition of Lunch with Laura. Thanks for coming today and seeing me and watching. Let me know if you have any questions or ideas. I always love ideas too. So, I will see you next time. Love you, and thanks for coming.